Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and it is 7 o'clock here in rainy, cold, pre-winter Minnesota. I feel like my mic is a little bit off. I'm all amped up, but it doesn't sound as loud in my ears. So glad to have you tonight. Brett Towers from Jersey Guys Balls is going to be on the show. We're going to talk about his investments that he's made. If you've seen his Instagram, like he's not messing around. He may or may not know what he's doing. I suspect he knows very well what he's doing, but the investments that he's made in his infrastructure and capital and animals are fantastic. So we're going to pick apart some of that business model. We're going to talk about what he's got going on. He's also a cool guy. I'll tell you a little bit more about him here in a minute, or what little bit I know, but I was joking in the green room ahead of time. It's nice when I've met somebody before they come on the show, which is rare, actually. You probably don't realize that. You probably think, man, Adam just knows all these people. I don't. Most of the people I've never met before, I've spoken to on an Instagram message. And so I don't really have a good feel of what I'm getting into. Brett and I hung out just a little bit at Tinley. I'll tell you more about that later. But anyhow, Brett Towers from Jersey Guys Balls is going to join us tonight. So stick around for that cool episode coming up. Announcements. I did 2 shows this weekend, one in St. Paul, one in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which I've been to St. Paul before. St. Paul is a very cool town. St. Paul is like, how do I put it? Like Minneapolis gets all sort of the glitz and glamour. St. Paul is like the texture and the I can't even say what I'm thinking. Anyway, St. Paul is a cool place to hang out. So I'd been there before, but La Crosse, Wisconsin, first it was a beautiful drive into western Wisconsin out of eastern Minnesota. There's like bluffs along the river, the Mississippi River there, and it almost looks like mountainous on the plateaus and bluffs. The colors were fantastic. I caught it at sunrise and then at sunset because it was a one-day show. And then La Crosse is a cool little town. Like they need to do a 2-day show there so I can hang out for the night and enjoy the town. It looks like a bunch of cool drinking joints and live music and good restaurants, all that. So Show Me Snake show and a scaled up Expos show. Both went very good. Both were very different shows. I think next week on Proper Cup of Joe, I'm going to pick them apart. Why so long? Because I'm doing another show this Sunday, which is the Exotic Pet Fair. And that is Ed and Emily from Snake Discovery's show here in Minneapolis. So I think it's going to be heavy on the pet stuff, petting as well. Not my favorite scene. On the other hand, if I could sell 4 or 5 $200 to $300 snakes, I mean, that's not a bad Sunday afternoon. That's a fine one-day show, you know? So I want to get my name, brand, and presence kind of normalized in the market. I want people recognizing me. I want them trusting me. And I just got to get out there and get in front of people. So this is the next in a long line of shows. I think I counted I'm doing 8 shows from starting with Davenport, Iowa, which was the last week of September through the end of the year. So 8 shows in 3 months. It's kind of moving. So anyhow, I'll pick them apart, but they were good. Thanks everybody that came out. If I met you and you're watching now, even better. Thank you so much for that. What's happening, audience? We already got 27 of you here. Thank you. You guys know I'm not going to do a roll call, but if there was some new people, then I would say hello. It's not that I don't appreciate you. It's I just can't sit through 5 minutes of, oh, we got so-and-so. Oh, we got so-and-so. Comment away, chat away, get your names out there. I'm cool with that. Merlin's Magic Morphs. I did meet them at the Scaled Up show. They were buying. They were there getting animals. We were hanging out for a little bit. And that La Crosse show was, look, I'm new in the region, but I feel like I have some sort of an awareness of cities and populations. I've never heard of lacrosse. I have no idea about lacrosse. So to get the volume of both vendors and people in the door that they did, I was blown away. It was great. It was a great show. I'd go do it. I already signed up for the next one, and I'll get on the waiting list for their Green Bay show, which breaks my number one rule of vending, is that I'm going to have to go buy a hotel. That's going to increase my overhead. I don't like buying hotels when I vend. So that's how good that show was. So anyhow, that's what was going on this weekend. Make sure to tune in to Proper Cup of Joe this Thursday. Me and Joe get at it a little bit. If you haven't seen it, it's a show about a snake keeper with a friend who doesn't keep snakes. And so we do talk about snakes. We talk about business, but we also we kind of hang out, and we cover topics where, like, how would you talk to people that didn't know about snakes? We actually tried to pick apart genetics last week. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. And I got some serious comments on that. Actually, this week's show, we're going to pick apart the comments from last week's show. You only got to see some of the comments. You should have seen my inbox and the text messages I got. So we're going to pick apart some of that, but that's Thursday morning. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you, go click on the LinkTree link for Proper Royals down below. It'll take you to my Morph Market, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the different ways you could get a hold of me. Patreon's in there as well. I forget sometimes that I do this show to push the Proper Royals brand. So I don't do it enough, I think, sometimes. But anyway, go check out the LinkTree. Special thanks here in Minnesota to MBK. I think it's Reptiles, MBK Exotics. That's Mark and Krista, and they're great people. I met them in person at St. Paul. I knew of them. They're friends of friends. They came highly recommended. We met in St. Paul, ended up vending next to each other in La Crosse the next day. Just cool people, real supportive, very welcoming to the community, and introduced me to a lot of cool people. So thanks very much. And I met them through Joe and Sheena at JSA Exotics. And if you don't know, or JSA Reptiles, I mix up Reptiles Exotics. JSA, you know who I'm talking about, the orange logo. Killer snakes, killer stuff they're doing. Really, really been helpful to me. So very cool. I will be on tomorrow night. I will be on Texoma. That's Holly. Again, I think it's Texoma Exotics. Holly's podcast on Wednesday night, 7:30 Central Time. It is a special cancer awareness episode that intersects, cancer awareness in our community. And we'll leave it there for now, but I think it'll be a special and a poignant show. I didn't have much to do with it other than just offering if I could be of help, I would be. I'm not the main guest. I'm not exactly sure where my role is or where it fits in, but I will be on that. Go check out Holly's show. I'll put it up on my Instagram, but 7:30 Central Time. You guys can do the math either way. And come hang out. Like I say, it'll be it's definitely for a good cause. There's no obligation. Nobody's going to ask you for money or anything like that. But like I say, it's a great way to support some people in our community that need it. And, cancer affects everybody. So, can affect everybody. I pray it doesn't affect everybody, and I hope it doesn't affect you. But come support those that it has affected. And if it has affected you, maybe you find a little bit of common audience and empathy there. So I hope you check it out. Next Tuesday is Halloween. I'm not going up against Halloween. I'll go up against any other podcaster. I'll go up against anybody else who wants to work my time slot against me or with me or alongside me. I'm not going up against Halloween. We gotta go trick-or-treating. I got an 11-year-old, it's kind of the window's closing on fun Halloweens as he grows up. He's not going to want any part of me. So I'm going to go be a dad and hang out with my family next Tuesday night. Have no fear though. Monday night, there'll be a special episode, same time, same place, just on Monday, not Tuesday, Monday night. And for a Monday night special episode, the fat man himself, Chris Eaton's coming on. Chris Eaton will be on the show with Steven, and Courtney's not able to be on, but with Steven from Leviathan Snakes, they're going to be talking about the documentary that Steven and Courtney have been working on for at least a year now. I know that Chris has a role in it, plays a role in it. I have not seen the documentary. I don't have liner notes. I don't have anything other than it's a bit about the history of the industry of reptiles and ball pythons. Chris is obviously a huge persona, both today, but also historically in that story. And so he's part of the documentary, and they're going to come talk about that on the show, and I'm going to pick it apart, and we're going to have a cool time. How about that? So Monday, October 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. Special Monday episode with Chris Eaton. Last announcement before we get to Brett Towers from Jersey Guys Balls. I got to say a huge thanks, a special welcome. As soon as I welcome Brett, you're going to see a new logo right in the middle. That's Portuguese Pythons. We've got a new sponsor. I am thankful, appreciative, proud to say that Danny and Renee and Danny Rocha from out in Ontario, California, the Inland Empire. If you're not from California, that's what that region's called there. Portuguese Pythons is the name of the brand, and they are a sponsor, and they will be a sponsor for the next 12 months. How about that, huh? So I do own a couple animals from them. I haven't received them yet, but I am excited. I'll get those this week, but I've done some work with Danny and Renee in the past. They've been guests on the show. We chat behind the scenes often. And they're just really, really great people. They support the community fantastic, and they have killer high-end snakes. So we'll talk about them a little bit more when it comes time to pay bills in the show, but I always want to give a special thanks when we have a new sponsor on the show. Thank you so much. Their information is down below in the description, as well as with all of our sponsors. And I would love it if you'd at least just check out the sponsors, because they do make my life easier and allow me to continue to do the show weekly now for well over 2 years, every Tuesday night. This has been happening now. Time for the show. Brett at Jersey Guys Balls. I met Brett at Tinley, and first he took the time to seek me out, introduce himself to me. I had heard of his brand. I had seen some of their Instagram posts and seen some of the quality they were going through. We missed each other in Daytona, and I don't know if we'll get into that or not. Probably. We'll just say Jersey Guys had something going on at Daytona, which made things a little bit challenging. So we didn't connect at Daytona, but I knew that they were there, and I knew I had missed them. So it was really cool when I got a chance to say hello and meet in person at Tinley. They're making beautiful animals. And this is Brett from Jersey Guys Balls. Please welcome for the very first time to the Proper Royals stage. That's Brett Towers. Here we go. What's going on, Brett?
What's going on?
Not too much, man. Wait, look at that. We got 44 people in the audience. Nice work, man.
Let's go.
Yeah. So how's things in Jersey? And I say it like I know. I've only been to New Jersey, I think, once in my life that I can remember. That was this summer, though. I had a little, it's recent anyway.
Yeah. Nah, things are good, though. The weather's a little weird. We've had like 50, 60 degree weather, and this week it's going up to like high 70s. What's going on here?
Yeah, we're going the opposite way. We were in the 70s, and then by Saturday they're calling for 30% chance of snow, which I don't know how well you know me, but I'm about 5 weeks into my Minnesota experience from Florida. Yeah, so we'll figure it out. I got my snake room. It is at a comfy 78.2 degrees though, so I'm good there. Yeah, life is good. How did we didn't talk before you left, but how did Tinley work out for you? And talk a little bit about the travels, man. I mean, Daytona's a huge travel for you. Tinley's a huge travel for you. What shows are you doing? Where can people catch you?
Yes, pretty much all the NARBC shows are big travels for us. The closest one is probably Tinley, and that's I think 14 or 15 hours. Daytona is right around 13, but that's not NARBC. Then we do the local shows. Like we do the Gettysburg, the Oaks sometimes. But this year we did all the NARBC shows. We got lucky. One of the vendors that's nearby to us didn't want to do Daytona and wasn't looking to do Tinley. I think he had work or something. So we just subleased his tables from him. We got lucky.
There you go. I was going to say
Yeah.
everybody's got a story about how they got their table at Tinley. So that was on the list. Like, tell us the story. So So and talking about sublease is almost like talking about wholesale deals. I know we can't get into the specifics. I don't want to get into the specifics. How did you come about it though? Is it somebody you've been in touch with? Do you know them? Is it through a Patreon or?
Yeah, so we actually didn't know him before. I think my dad was down in the March Tinley this year. I was vending a local show. My dad went to Tinley.
Okay.
And my dad was just walking around and heard this guy talking about how he didn't want to vend Daytona. I think he said it was too long of a drive or something. Which that's like a 24-hour drive for us straight.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, all right, like we'll sublease it from you. And then the guy basically gave us the Daytona table, and then they're moving to Dallas, or not the Daytona. I'm talking about Arlington table. And then he didn't want the Daytona or the Arlington table anymore. So we were just like, all right, we'll take it. And then they're moving to Dallas. So we actually got a bigger spot than we had. And then he just through the grapevine, we found out he had work during Tinley. So we're like, yeah, we'll take those tables too.
Yeah.
The hope is he'll just let us keep having them. But.
Right. Yeah. A funny aside. So I think most of the people watching know kind of the story of how I got my Tinley table. Like really quick, Robin at REDLINE calls me. I'm set up out in the lobby to start with. Day two, unfortunately, another vendor's goods didn't arrive, so they said, "Well, we're out of here."
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was well, I don't want to say who it was because I'm assuming I don't want to anyway. Something unfortunate happened. Their goods didn't arrive. Out they go. Robin comes to me and goes, oh, and by the way, I did just to be totally transparent, I paid full retail for the table in the lobby. That's how competitive these tables are. So I said, yeah, that's not a deal breaker. I'll pay for it.
Right.
So Saturday afternoon, Robin goes, hey, well, there's an end cap of 4 tables available. You want those tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I want those tomorrow.
Yeah, that was right in the front too.
Yeah, man. So he goes, well, get here early and you just have to move all your stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a sweet deal.
So I did. And then, so I go to Robin. I say, how am I going to get I paid for my table. Does that mean I get a table next year? He's like, you got to talk to Bob and Brian on that. And I was like, damn it. Okay. Yeah. I was like, where's the hookup, man? And I'm like, yeah, you've gotten the hookup already, Adam. Like, take it easy, right? so I go and I say, I just, walk up like I know what I'm doing and like I've been there 20 times. I'm like, all right, I need to pay for the March table. And I won't say who it was. They go, well, where's your paperwork? And I was like, I think I don't know. I'll get it. Can I just pay for it? And he's like, fill this out. Then I'll see what I can do. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, we'll see if something opens up. I'm like, okay. So I fill it out. I get with Chris, who B and S, who I'm vending with. And I was like, Chris, give me 5 different species you can bring in March. And then I'll put ball pythons at the bottom of the list. And so we cook that up. And then I purposefully go to a different person and I say the same thing. Here I am. I'm ready to pay. I just need to settle up for March. And they go, okay, cool. So they take the pay. But this is where I still got, they kind of got me. They hand me the receipt and he goes, I'm just going to make a note about the lobby on your paperwork for you. And he meant every word of it. He wasn't joking. Yeah,
I bet.
So I got the table in the lobby, but
man, there's no joke over there. We hounded him. My dad was out there like every 15 minutes from like 11 to 2 on Sunday. And we have the same thing. We have a bunch of different species. We're like, all right, we'll list every single one. We'll just bring one of them, and then we'll list ball pythons at the bottom. They still nothing. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, I know that they see. These aren't new tricks. They've seen it all. They know the product 100%. That they have, and they're great. Like, I don't want anybody like framing this as anything negative because I've been to one Tinley and
Right.
I scored a home run. I got a table, and then the
Yeah.
second day I got a 4-table end cap front and
sure.
center in the room, right? So
Yeah.
like everything is totally cool. There's nothing they could, I wouldn't say nothing, but very little they could do to disappoint me at this point.
No.
But it's a testament to what they've built, and it's it's like you and I were talking about this, but this like goes on with like 46 people in the audience. 20 of them are doing exactly the same stuff that we're doing, you know. So
and it's hard to really blame them either. Like you walk down the halls and pretty much every table has a ball python. It's like, all right, well, I understand where they're coming from, but
yeah. So, and sorry, I keep getting on these topics. I want to talk about you, but just one quick side note. So the St. Paul show that I vended this weekend, very small show. I think 20 vendors was it. You got to pay $15 in parking to even get in the door before you pay the entry fee kind of deal. But only 2 ball python breeders.
That's crazy.
It was great. It was fantastic.
What did everybody have? Just a bunch of colubrids?
No, actually, I didn't. I saw some colubrids, but not. No, it's it feels. I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like geckos are doing what ball pythons did 3 years ago.
Gotcha.
Geckos were everywhere.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. There was even just like the trinket stuff. You know, just the stuff like the fake leaves that you decorate with. You know, somebody's custom. You know, bioactives that they're designing. It was a little bit more of it. What put it this way, you wouldn't have seen any of that stuff at Tinley. You know what I mean? It's not. Right. It was a smaller town. It was a smaller scale hobby show. Is really how I would put it. Really, and what I sold reflected it. But because there was only 2 of us, and I know the others moved them too. I mean, one afternoon I think I moved 7 snakes, that's a pretty good show. I don't know if people watching realize that, but you know, if you can average $300 to $500 a snake, that's a pretty good day of work, right?
That's great work.
Yeah. So, and I know there's guys at Tinley that do 10 times that dollar amount in one day, but that's not me. And one day it will be maybe. So tell us, I think I gleaned is your dad the other guy in Jersey Guys?
Yeah. So it's me, my dad, and then my girlfriend is also a part of it with us.
Okay, cool.
But with the snakes, it's primarily me and my dad. And then my girlfriend does like all the geckos and odds and ends and stuff like that. Gotcha.
And how did that come apart, a partnership with you and your dad? Like those are either perfect or awful, it seems like a lot of times, right?
Yeah. Well, we as a family, we have a couple family businesses. Where during COVID and everybody had extra money, we did okay with the family businesses, worked really hard to get where we were. But then we had extra profit to put into another business. And I've been into the ball python since high school. I'm 23 now.
Okay.
So I came up with the idea, and then I pretty much just showed them like a double het DG clown female on Morph Market, just a baby, and it was the only one on there. I was like, this is $1,200. We could buy it right now, flip it tomorrow for $1,800. Easy.
Yeah.
We bought it. We didn't sell it. A month later, we probably had 20 ball pythons. It happened quick. It really happened quick.
And that was 5 years ago, or you finally cooked this up like 2-3 years ago? Yeah,
this was probably early 2021.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, you've flown, man. Like that's a lot. Like you've gone at a breakneck pace then, man.
Yeah. We definitely jumped off the cliff doing it.
Yeah.
We dove in.
So there's something I've said on the show before that I don't recommend most people take 5 figures, 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand and dump it into anything really, but ball python specifically. But I always say it with one caveat: unless you've done it before and you know what it takes to ride ups and downs, and you know what it takes to market, to account for your bills and your books, and you have the backbone and the guts to handle. I can't sleep at night knowing that I got 200 grand at risk. I have a tough enough time at the, you know, whatever I'm at risk. So did you have that was that something that you felt like you already had in you from your family businesses or your growing up experience with your father?
Yeah, I would say so. Like every business, the small businesses, you have your up years, you have your down years.
Right.
So we're kind of, I wouldn't say we're used to it. Just the riskiness part, I would just say we're willing to take the risk. And I'm young right now, so I still live at home with my parents. So it's like I
Yeah.
don't really have many bills to pay. So I
Gotcha.
kind of, now is the time to take the risk, if ever.
Now, did you, and this, we talked about beforehand, if there's something you don't want to talk about, just let me know.
Yeah.
Did I don't want to know the exact amount, but did you take existing funds that you guys already had, or did you finance it through business loans?
No.
So did you take the service debt model, or you took
Nope.
we
No
had
debt.
our own assets?
Yep. No debt, all own assets.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I get torn between what's better, because honestly, I wouldn't recommend anybody going to debt. On the other hand, like from starting a restaurant standpoint, I would never recommend somebody, risk their life. I tell people you probably need $1 million, $1.5 million to really get a good sized restaurant going.
Right.
And I would never recommend that somebody risk that. So I actually would recommend that if they have an understanding of how to manage debt and how business works as it relates to debt. But you're saying you didn't, and so there's very few people I'd recommend that to. But I thought when you were talking about family businesses and investments, that was but you did it all with personal assets.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how I would feel about doing debt with like live animals, because by the time you have, like, if you buy a real nice snake for 30 grand, like by the time you finally have that pay off, like the animal might be worth like $2 grand, $3 grand, $4 grand.
Yeah, I think it would be more to fund capital. Infrastructure and capital. And the idea being, if you could, and these are all hypothetical numbers, Jessica could calculate them off the top of her head, but if you, for example, took $100,000 loan, no, not 100, 50,000 on a 10-year loan, that's $5 grand a year plus interest, and say that, $5 grand a year by 12 months, that's actually a pretty manageable number to come up with. And that's the idea of servicing debt that I'm talking about. The problem is you got to stick around for 10 years and hope to God you figure out what you're doing and pay yourself and blah, 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 all those other things. So again, I wouldn't recommend it, but there are times that I think about it, or I would, do it as a percentage of total revenue. Cause my actual revenue is actually getting up there pretty well this year. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. So anyway, those are just thoughts that go in my head. I have taken the same route. I have not financed anything. I have no debt. And actually Brandon he gives me a hard time. He thinks I don't spend enough. I am a cash flow. I don't spend money until I'm cash flow positive, which is a slow pace.
Yeah. It's a hard seesaw to balance, really. Between spending money and then making money and deciding how much you want to actually keep out of that money. One thing me and my father learned when we were getting in, like Miguel and Justin always said it, like, you don't want to spend all of your money the first year, because the next year there's going to be new stuff. The next year after that, there's going to be new stuff. You almost have to split it up and keep investing through the years just to keep yourselves where the markets is heading.
And I'm sorry to cut you off. That's a really huge point. And I won't name the breeder, but there was a pretty influential breeder that I was having that discussion with today. And he brought up another influential breeder who I also won't mention that he feels hasn't done that. That's producing, greater than 10,000 hatchlings a year. But because he hasn't invested year after year in just something new, you might hit, you might miss. It might be a dud. It might be a great gene. But if you keep producing the same thing, to Jessica's constant point, those prices are going to go down. Everything is on a downward slope to pet grade. So if you're not upgrading to beat that downward slope, your margins get too slim. You can't make it.
I mean, you got to look at, like, of course, none of us are ever going to turn into Justin and have what Justin has. But you have to look at what Justin does. Like, every new gene that comes out, he's the first one to buy it. Like Tornado, he already has. He's growing everything up. I believe he has the Cosmos codon gene from Europe already. Like every new gene he gets, because he knows that there's always a next thing. He has to be on top of the next thing, or else he won't be producing the cutting edge stuff that he thinks.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got different resources than guys like us have. And you and I probably have very different resources. But even still, that's loser talk. I know Josh pretty well. I don't know the context of the loser talk. Okay. Yeah, but I think it's very important to make sure that whatever your relative version of moving forward and trying to stay ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's ahead. I think it's better than what you had last year. I don't think, to your point, you're never going to get ahead of the likes of Justin unless, we all hear those stories of, Ozzy or Josh with the acid gene. You could have an amazing gene fall in your lap.
Yeah.
But we can name the guys that's happened to. There's not many. Yeah. So, I think you have to constantly be improving. You don't have to constantly be the best, but then you got to make it up in other ways: relationships, customer service, marketing. Sometimes you just got to be the cheaper guy than Justin can get more for his snakes than the rest of us. Oh, that's the loser talk. Okay, the next Justin's in the chat right now. Okay, you're right. That I get it now. I'm with you. So give us some stats. We know each other a little bit, but not very well. So give us some stats. What's the volume of animals you're working with? Tell us a little bit about your facility. It looks fantastic. For all the tongue-in-cheek comments that I've made, that is me busting your chops in the highest regard. It looks fantastic, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right now we probably have 350 animals total, including adults, babies, hatchlings, everything.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. Will just popped in, which is awesome.
What's up, Will?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you say 350?
Probably 350.
Okay, 350. Okay.
Out of that 350, like actual holdbacks, females and males that we want to breed, there's probably closer to 250 or 275.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of animals.
But the reason we built this is actually a barn. It was a barn. It didn't look anything like this before. It was basically just like 4 rooms of cinder blocks, and then we built it out this year. But with this facility, we could probably have up to close to 400 adult females.
Okay. How big is the facility? Like square footage ish?
I think it's 23 by 30. So it's probably like 600 square feet.
3-car garage. Yeah. Okay.
It's probably almost the exact size of a twin car garage.
Yeah. Okay.
But we could build this out really to 400 adult females, probably 100 adult males. But at that point, we'd probably need to build another shed or something for babies. Take up a lot of space.
Yeah, I was. That's on my brain right now because my baby plan is working as far as space and logistics, but it helps because my clutches were spread out this year. Right. So I'm constantly going, when do I need to invest in more infrastructure or where do I keep the cash flow on hand and keep cash flow positive? So, but the answer is, before next summer, I'm going to have to invest in some more hatchling racks and hatchling space.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think one thing that people overlook when they're building out is like a new room is hatchling space. Because, we can have up to 400 adult females. We never will have up to 4. That's too many females.
Truthfully, it's a different business model too. Yeah. That's the volume model. The version,
Ideally, I think the perfect amount of clutches for us would probably be around similar. I don't even know. Probably right around 100.
Yeah.
Any more than that, it's a hassle to probably get rid of all the babies. But that we should honestly be able to stay in this room with 100 clutches.
I agree, and I'm hesitating because I'm looking around my room. It's it's about half of what you're talking, 360 square feet
Gotcha.
in here.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is if I outgrow this, I need employees. I'm going to need I need an actual, like, I need security. I need facilities, all that kind of thing. And I have a good facility here. Credit to Bob. His is in his basement, or as he puts it, he built his house. His house is built on top of his facility. Fine. That's mine here too.
Smart.
What's that?
I said that was very smart of him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I could, but I don't really have a place where employees could be coming and going. Right. I don't have a walkout basement. So the reality is I actually would want separate space. And maybe it would be property that I own and that the house is on and the building's on, but I would want separate space. So, but I think, to be honest with you, my cap that I envision is around 100 females as well. Now, not 400, but 100 females.
Yeah, that's we're probably a little bit over 100 females right now, adult, that we would breed this year.
Yeah,
and honestly, it's a really nice size. Like, it's very handleable for me, just me. So I mean, it's definitely the way to go if you don't want employees or anything like that.
It's just a new ball of wax, and it's like I do things with my hands trying to verbally explain things.
Right.
But with like graphs and curves, we like these straight lines that kind of flow.
Right.
But with an employee, it's not, because you're on this little flow, but then it will spike immediately because you got to come up with $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to pay somebody.
Yeah.
So how much more work or overhead do you have to produce to make spending 30, 40, 50 from 0 to 50? You don't get the curve. It's a step thing. Yeah. And those steps really take a lot of thought when you overcome those. So whether it's a facility size, whether it's hiring people, I used to think a lot about that in staffing. Like, I knew from 0 customers to 100 customers, well, I needed 3 servers.
Yeah.
110 customers, now I got to increase my labor by 30% because I'm going to bring a 4th server in. Right. That's one of those steps. That's where you got to think of who do you want to be, what do you want to do, and how do you want to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's a hard thing to think about because, like, unless you're doing, like, we have 100 adult females right now, then we have to breed all our own rats too. So the rats are a whole nother part of it where we already have basically an employee helping us with the rats.
Yeah, I was going to ask, and actually, my partner Taylor, he mailed in a very specific question. He said, since you brought up rats, let's just get to it right now. Yeah. He said, talk about your, he says, talk about your rodents, and then how do you keep your grow outs when it comes to rodents, and how do you choose what to grow out and like the pace of it? Because I think the root of it is you could take all the revenue up front on hopper and crawler kind of stuff. Is that what I suspect he's getting at?
So you can do that. I don't sell anything under a wean.
Nothing under a wean, huh?
Nothing under a wean. I do that for a couple of reasons. One, I need the pups more than anyone else. I'm going to breed the rats. I need the pups really bad.
Yeah.
And then when people hit me up for like 200 pups, I'll have 200 pups, but then I'll only have 50 for me. And then next week I'll be low on weans. So you kind of have to think about it that way. As for growing out different rats for just like holdbacks, honestly, to make more colonies and to replace your old colonies, we have a very, I think it's easy system, but it took a long time to figure it out. So for our rats, we do rats and ASFs, no more. Sure. ASFs is perfect right now, so I'll explain them. ASFs, we're producing, depending on the week, anywhere from 400 to 800 ASF weans. It's a lot. It's a lot of weans. It's more than we need. But we have a system where we have 3 ARS racks all right next to each other, the 1050s.
Yeah.
We'll put a 1.4 in each one.
Sure.
We clean every 10 days to 14 days. We just found it works best. They don't really get that dirty ASFs. Each week we clean. I'll feed off the ones on the end, all the adults on the last row on the right, and then we'll just move every column over. And then we know by the end of that last row, since the first row, they've been in there 30 weeks. That's plenty of time for them to have 3 or 4 different litters.
Now, I was thinking those racks were 5 wide. You're saying they're 10 wide?
No. They're 5 wide. So we have 3 of them set up.
Oh, you said 2 weeks. You're on a clean.
Every other week.
Okay, so you're moving them every 2 weeks. There you go.
Yep.
I was trying to follow the math to 30.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
And that seems like the perfect time for an ASF where they're, I mean, some ASFs get the like warts and stuff like that. By that time, they're either just starting to get the warts, so you can feed them off anyway because you don't really want that in your rat room. Plus, I think their production starts to decline after that.
Right. Well, in 30 weeks, I mean that's 6 months. That's a 6 month cycle. That's from
when you set them up too. So they're probably already 5 or 6 weeks old by the time you set them up.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me ask you, when do they? Yeah, so you don't put them in that rotation on birth or on when they're weaned, right?
Not even weaned. It's probably 3 or 4 weeks after weaned.
Yeah, because they're not going to. I mean, so let's just say hypothetically at 10 weeks old, they're ready to start producing. Is kind of where your mindset's at.
Yep. So we'll get them in together into colonies right around like the 6 to 8 weeks. That way, right when they hit that 10-week, they'll start producing. So the first 2 colonies or 2 columns, 2 or 3 columns on the left don't usually have babies.
Yeah.
And the rest of the columns have so many babies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And you're doing a 1.4 on yours, you said. Yeah, I think ours are set up at 1.3.
Yeah.
When I say ours, that's me and Taylor.
Yeah. Rats are a little different. So we're trying to move away from the rats and go towards more of the ASFs. They're cleaner, they're cheaper, they smell less. It's just easier for us.
Yeah.
And it's really hard dealing with some rat customers. So I'm trying to stop overproducing so hard for rats, and I'll just produce ASFs. The ASFs are so easy. But rats, we have 4 Freedom Breeder 70-30 racks for the rats.
4 of them. Okay. So that's what, 9 of P.
Yeah, it's 24. Not 7. So the rat racks aren't 70-30. They're 70-24s. They're 8 rows high instead of 10 rows high, like the snake racks.
Okay.
So we have 4 of them set up in a row, just like the ASF racks. It's just you replace the last 4, or you freeze off the last 4 colonies.
Yeah.
And then you just move the next 4 colonies, move the next 4 colonies. It's just like a snake. Basically goes up and down the racks.
Yeah. When I talk to somebody locally, they, instead of moving them left to right, they're talking like you did. They move them from the floor up, and when they hit to the top, boom, it's to the freezer.
Yeah. Rats are a little bit more tricky for us to figure out when to start pairing them, when to not pair them. I think if you pair them a little bit too early, most of them don't even make it until like they start breeding. For some reason, we have some rats die off before they even start breeding.
Really?
Yeah. But in those tubs, we're running a 1.5. In the winter, we run a 1.6 just because it's a little bit colder in the rat room. We want them to be a little bit warmer so they can huddle up together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Rats produce well. We don't sell anything under weans. I keep all the pups. And then once we get to the weans, I'll count all the weans and smalls. And we rarely have extra mediums every week. But I'll count the weans, smalls, mediums, and sell off whatever we have to sell off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and do you have I mean, I'm sure you have established customers, but do you have, is everything spoken for basically before it hits the market? Or okay. So there's not a website of, hey, I'm gonna update my inventory. You click here, get your order in by X day, and I'll do. Yeah,
I mean, the most we'll ever have extra is like 100 or 200 weans and less than 100 smalls. And I basically have 2 or 3 guys that they want them all. Yeah, and I'll honestly run through them each week, different one.
You know, there's been now they haven't delivered on this request, but there's when the topic has come up, there's been a couple people that have said, I'll take every one of them that you can produce, kind of deal. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you shortly, but I can't, there's nothing right now, you know?
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting because you'll find that a lot of, I mean, I won't say a lot of people, a good amount of, if they have ball pythons, eventually they'll probably breed their own rats or have a couple colonies at least. And then just like everything else, there's a breeding season for rats and mice. They breed really hard some seasons. They don't breed hard in other seasons. So ASFs, for instance, they love the heat. That's why I went from 400 to 800, I said earlier. There was a couple months we had like 900, or a couple weeks we had 900 weans. I'm like, I don't know what to do with all these. This is a little much. But then in winter, like we'll struggle to feed all of our snakes with ASFs. That's why we still have the rats around, because the rats do all right in the winter.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, they're the Norwegians. I mean, that's what they do, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was laughing. I mean, first it was funny the way you said it, but like whatever you said about it's a little much, it struck me when I'm like, so I'm new in Minnesota. My wife's family's from here. You know, a lot of these folks I have never met before. Oh, what do you do, Adam? Well, I breed ball pythons. I raise those, and and I just partnered on a rat farm, and they just look at me, and I'm like, it's a little much, and like just the look on their face, like it was. I imagine myself looking like you just did, talking about 900 ASFs. And then
it's all the time. Like even going to Tractor Supply every week, like. It's the same ladies working at Tractor Supply, and I get the same stuff, the same pine chips. And they're like, what do you need all these for?
Right.
If you told me, you wouldn't let me come in here anymore. I mean, if I told you, like, you don't want to know, it's better not to know.
I was, so again, I'm new here. We have I was going to say a home. It's almost like a construction store more than home improvement. It's kind of weird. They have groceries too, but it's called Menards. And I was getting like outlets, plumbing stuff, lights, and it was just the same lady. And like, it's a town of 20,000 people. Like they know I'm not from here. Like they spot me a mile away, you know, and she finally was like, what are you working on? And I'm like, I got this cool basement. And she's like, oh, it'll be great for football games. Like, that's it. You got it. That's the one.
Exactly. That's the face every single time. She's like, how should I say this?
Yeah. My neighbors. Thank God. Like I still have restaurant consulting clients, so I'm not lying to them, but I'm like, yeah, I'm a restaurant consultant. I work from home. And they're like, that's incredible. That's great. Good for you. We see you around a lot at home. And I'm like, you're not looking very closely then. If you're,
that's funny.
Let's see. Menards. They said it's Menards. I never heard of Menards in my life.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. They have this. All right. Sorry. Again, just odd things. Menards has aisles that you're allowed to drive your vehicle down. Not like a store cart, like your pickup truck. You just if you want sheetrock, you just drive to the sheetrock aisle.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, I never seen it in my life. Like even saying it out loud. I told my wife about it, and she's like Home Depot, and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you could just walk in those aisles. I'm like, yeah. I thought they were using a truck to stock the store. Yeah. And then there was just like everyday Joe just loading his truck in, and I'm like. So then she checks with her dad, and her dad's like, yeah, how do you get plywood? And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
You search all over for a cart, and then you go get it.
Yeah, and you truck that little thing that clinks the whole way. Yeah, anyway. All right. So what are some of your projects you're focusing on? I mean, I'm guessing you strike me as a person that's not just buying snakes willy-nilly. You got a plan. Tell us about the plan. What do you got going on, and what's kind of your vision?
Yeah, so we're in a few different recessive projects. And by projects, I always refer to recessives as project. I don't really refer to codoms as projects.
Sure. Yeah.
I get the codoms into the recessive projects.
Right.
But primarily what we're known for is the sunset, monsoon, and I would maybe say we're known for clowns, but I wouldn't really say so.
But you worked, all right. So I wouldn't say I'm known for anything, but I have things I'm focusing on and working on. So, but hey, if you are known for sunset and monsoon stuff, that's a huge leg up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so we bred a monsoon female to a sunset male last year. This is probably the most exciting clutch or project that I'm looking forward to. So we have, I think we have 6 double het female sunset monsoons, and they're probably all right around 900 grams right now.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully in the spring, probably next fall, we'll start breeding them.
Do you ever have a moment where you're trying to show somebody the importance of a double het sunset monsoon, and they're like, that? Yeah, I had a snake like that in college, man. I know all about that
all the time. Like anytime I have any like friends over or family that we're trying to explain this, like we'll show them a pied and they'll be like, wow. And then I'll show them like a ODYV Enchi het pied and they'll be like, okay. This is so much more powerful. You just don't know it.
Look, man, I still pay the bills on pieds and clowns. I mean, I was lamenting to actually the Taylor that I partner with on the rodents. I was like, I got to get these hatchlings feeding. I'm coming up to the farm tomorrow just to get some hoppers and some fuzzies, man. That's what I need. Yeah. But okay, so this time next year you'll be breeding those double hets.
Hopefully, yeah.
Are you going to put them? Are you going to split them up? Put them back to a monsoon, some to a monsoon, and some to a sunset? Or what's the plan there?
So we have males too, so we'll breed probably most of them to the double het males as well. Hopefully, hit the double het or the double visual.
So you're going double het to double het out of the gate.
Yeah, but we have double het males this year. We have 3 double het males: a pastel, double het, sunset monsoon, Mojave, and a normal. We're breeding that back to the mom, which was a visual monsoon. So hopefully we hit a monsoon 50% het sunset.
Right.
That's what we did with monsoon clown this year as well.
So on the project design, and this is something that I'm wrestling with. I'm not dealing with sunsets and monsoons, but for example, I have 2 years of double het ultra clowns coming up. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to go for the double visual right now.
Right.
Because yes, there's the odds of the double visual or the chance of the double visual, but there's also all the 66% POS stuff. Yeah. I got to go through all the testing. I got to go through those headaches when I could, which I did, buy a clown het ultramel.
Yeah.
Double my odds on a visual clown.
Right.
And I'll know that they're all at least het for clown, and I'll only have 166% instead of 2.
Yeah.
Tell me where I'm, maybe not that I'm nuts. Tell me where you verged in the other, or where you forked in the other direction.
I wouldn't say we have. I would say it's a similar thing. But the person who hit the ultramel het clown, they probably started with double hets, or someone eventually started with double hets.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. In total fairness, my analogy would only prove fair if you had a visual monsoon het sunset or sunset het monsoon kicking around.
Which ideally will hit this year, breeding the double het monsoon sunset back to the monsoon female, and we're breeding it to sunset females.
Okay, so you are doing both. All right, all right. So you're playing both angles on it then. Okay,
yeah.
All right. So you will have some that are 100% het.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will just Will got the comment in on there as I was having, as the light bulb was going off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's why he doesn't do it, dummy. Because Okay, so that's cool. So obviously that's not been done yet.
I don't think I would shock me if it has been done. I don't know of many people with double hets.
Right. I know that people keep their stuff under wraps until they want to let it out.
I would be shocked. I'm sure Justin probably has one somewhere.
He's just like the chef at a nice restaurant with like the truffle in his pocket. He's like, oh, okay, just for you. I got that.
Secrets hid everywhere.
Yeah. but it's not been seen. It's not been, they're
Yeah.
not available at any
Yeah.
price out there right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it should be interesting. When I explain to people, I say it could be the coolest ball python or it could be the ugliest ball python. I don't see it being one where people are just like, yeah. I think you're either gonna love it, or you're probably gonna hate it.
You know what? I think it's too intriguing for people to hate it right off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the world's biggest sunset fan.
Right.
I'm not anti sunset. Do what you like and do what people
Yeah.
love. And it's different. It's cool and it's different.
Right.
So cool. Monsoon though, that's something for me. That gets me going.
Yeah.
So I think it's intriguing enough to say, okay, what don't we like about it then? And how do we figure out how to, is it too dark? All right, then we got to get some fire into it. Is it just too scattered? All right, maybe we need some enchi in it, tighten it up, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's a neat enough, interesting enough platform.
Yeah, Monsoon, there's a lot to do with Monsoon. We did the same thing with the Monsoon Clown that we're talking about, the Monsoon Sunset, where we have a double het Monsoon Clown male. We bred that to the female. We got lucky. We hit a male Monsoon that's het clown.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll be breeding that to the double het clown Monsoons that we have.
And this is pretty lofty stuff, so forgive me. Have we seen a Monsoon Clown yet?
They have them in Europe.
In Europe, wow. Okay.
I haven't seen anyone hit it in the U.S. Someone might have. I know a lot of people have double hets, so it probably will be hit this year or next year.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, and then with the help of, I know that we don't have a monsoon test yet, right? Sunset test though, yes.
Yeah, I need it so bad. I have like 25 animals to test for monsoon before I sell them.
So you're not confident on the monsoon as the head as a visual cue.
So I think most of them have markers. I'll say that. I think you can tell by the color. I think you can tell. Just the dorsal stripe is a little different than a normal. But when it comes to like a double het male, like a double het Monsoon Clown male is actually worth something compared to like a 100% het clown, 50% het Monsoon. Like no one wants that.
Right.
I'll have to sell them as normals.
But that's that's sort of the proof in the pudding, so to speak. Like I often see people have opinions. I'm not talking about you. Yeah. I often see people have opinions. And then I say, well, would you sell it as, or would you pay the het price, 100% het price for it based on,
that's
and
why
they go, no. Okay. Well, then maybe you don't believe it as much as they say they do. Right.
Yeah. But then we also have we bred that double het male to a clown female this year as well. So we have probably 10 clown, 50% het monsoons that some of them were pretty confident on being het monsoon, but until we get the test, like I won't sell any of them because that's like a $3,000 price difference probably.
I know.
Yeah.
The look on my face is running the numbers even at 50% odds of what you're sitting on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say with your hands tied, but waiting. You either have to wait for the test or you have to wait to breed them out. And that's the, that's all the way back to the basic premise of this whole thing. It takes time, man. You got this 2 to 3 year turnaround at best. Each new generation of things. I mean, sure, you start getting some males in there. What's that?
There's no rush in it. They're going to go at their own pace whenever they want. They'll stop eating whenever they want. It is what it is.
Yeah, it definitely is what it is. And because I was laughing at myself today, the double, the catch-22 of having 2 really great shows back to back. I'm like, man, my inventory, I got 5 clutches in the incubator. I'm like, get out. I need these.
Yeah.
I need these,
right.
So yeah, it's ball pythons teach us patience for sure. Yeah, let me say hey to John's Creatures here. John, I don't think I've actually recognized you on the show before. So first off, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the $5. I appreciate it. What will that go to? Oh, that will go to switch plates. I took them all off because they look like crap in this old basement, and new switch plates this week. That's this week's project to finish off. So John, thank you very much. John's Creatures. I appreciate it. And now I feel bad. Now I feel like I met John's Creatures either at one of the most recent shows. So now I'm going to feel like, even more of a jerk. That's the worst when you're like, I never seen you. And you're like, oh yeah, I saw you 2 days ago. Anyhow, it's a challenge to keep up with everybody's handle and IDs. Hey, well, we got a quick break in the action, and we got some money coming in. Let's pay some bills. I got to say thanks to the sponsors. They legitimately make this possible. They legitimately make it so that just a little bit less of a need each week for me to have to go to work and find other ways to pay the bills. I can do it here through this content. And credit to the audience. We were flirting with around 70 people all night, which is a really great metric. So thank you all for being here. I can't do it without you. Check out REDLINE Shipping. If you haven't used them before, I truly believe that they are the best customer service and shipping experience in the game. I was a customer of theirs before I ever got into advertising business. And it was from that experience that made me say, hey, I want to advertise with these folks. So go check out REDLINE Shipping. They're going to give you $5 off of your next shipping label with the promo code PROPER5. REDLINE Shipping, give them a shot. Cold Blooded Cafe. If you're not breeding your own rats, and if you feed frozen thawed, which I still prefer to do, and I still do feed frozen thawed. I've got a big freezer right there just for them. Check out Cold Blooded Cafe. Same with them. I was a longtime customer of theirs. So actually a funny story when I was making my advertising pitch to them. Desiree said, wait a minute, what's your last name? And I said, Shira. And she goes, oh, I won't say it because it's, family show. She goes, you buy all kinds of stuff from us. I go, I know, I'm your boy. This is me. I can advertise this. And I've continued to be pleased and happy with our relationship. So please go check out Cold Blooded Cafe. Use the promo code PROPER10. They're going to give you 10% off of your order. And that adds up, man. Just one box of rodents frozen, that adds up. So 10% adds up. Portuguese pythons, the newest folks to our Proper Royals family. I'm flattered, humbled, grateful. They knocked on my door figuratively earlier last week, and we got to talking, and we thought it would be a good fit. Truth be told, I don't take every person that wants to advertise. I want there to be a good brand alignment. I want them to be people at least I know and that I'm aware of and have some differentiating factor from the other advertisers. And Portuguese pythons fit all of those. And to tie it all together, they're great people. They're really good folks to work with. And I've had the pleasure of knowing them for probably close to a year now. And it was really great to be able to align with them. So I hope you go check them out. I'll tell you more about them down the line, some of their projects and that stuff, but you won't be disappointed. Very high-end animals, high-quality animals, Portuguese pythons. Their link is down below. Keith, also at Kreative Genetics, he's out in California. He's breeding projects, working on getting Stranger into a variety of recessives. He's got a clutch right now of Stranger combos that are 50% triple pos hets. Is that the way you'd say it? All three 50% pos het. And I believe the combo is Pied Clown VPI Axanthic. So if you're into Stranger combos with some building blocks for recessives, go check out Keith at Kreative Genetics. Last but not least, and certainly not least, because he's been my partner in crime on several different occasions for fun shenanigans and business. That's Chris at B and S Reptilia up in Pennsylvania. He breeds ball pythons. He breeds, I learned a Latin word, Pituophis, and I believe those are the northern pine snakes and bull snakes. He's got those. Blood pythons, locality boas, incredibly educated and helpful person in this industry. He's been a really great help and mentor to me. One of the very first supporters. Go check him out. He is also the regional state distributor for the Chipper Cocoa there in Pennsylvania. Boom. I think I got through all my promos. Thank you all very, very much for bearing with me, but they are important. They're special people, and I put a lot of time and effort into those relationships. So thanks to all of them. Go check them out if they can help you at all. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Chris is real local to me.
Yeah, there's a thin line between West Jersey and East Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm basically 25 minutes right outside of Philly. So all the local shows I go to, Chris is always at.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene and the hangouts and the relationships from the shows that are built at the shows are fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
I moving here didn't scare me. The winter scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like that's pretty serious. Moving here didn't scare me. Starting new didn't. Just my background is kind of that. I've lived all over. My parents moved a lot. They were divorced. I bounced back and forth between them. So a new place didn't bother me. But I realized starting over on the show scene, both with customers and relationships and local relationships, I miss. And people ask me, like, they're all one-day shows here, and they're like, "Oh, why are you complaining about that?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not." Except, and it occurred to me, I miss the hangouts. I miss the dinners. I miss the business. I did good business at the dinners. I made good friends. Truth be told, my head Sunday morning is probably happier that I didn't hang out Saturday nights. Like we're known to go pretty hard on some of those hangouts, you know, but I do miss that. I miss that camaraderie. So this feels a whole lot more like get in, do business, go home. And I've been solo, so I can't even work the room. Like if I'm not at the table, I'm not selling, you know? So
that's how it is here though, that they're all one-day shows. I'm really surprised there's not like an NARBC show up near New York or something. There's so many people that would just come by. It's really shocking.
Yeah, I never know. I forget what it was. I was talking to the promoter on Sunday, and they said, I don't even remember the detail. They said something, and it was one of those aha moments where, like, oh yeah, I have no idea what a show promoter goes through. I have no idea what the local laws are and you know, stipulations and municipal reptile laws. I don't know. Yeah, who knows what's in their way? I'm sure they've thought of it, but I don't know what's in their way. Chris says we laid low at Tinley. Yeah, we did. Had we stayed in the Tinley hotel, we were driving. We were being holy. All right, I'm going to break my rule. Holy shit. Justin, thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, I'm going to have to a
lot of switch plates.
Justin's going to get his own switch plate. I've got No, his stickers are like they're like 4x6s. They're going to be it's going to be a perfect switch. I actually keep your eye out, guys. I'm going to I will do that. If you want to sponsor a switch plate, boom, there you go. Okay, that is hey, look, that's right on pace with what it costs to no, I'm not even going to discuss that stuff. Justin at Pressure Pythons, he's out of Jacksonville. Justin was kind enough to host my eggs in his incubator when I moved up here. Was a real lifesaver being able to do that. And Justin is investing. Justin is his first year. Justin's never bred a thing yet.
Oh, wow.
He's gotten some locks. Dude's got sunsets there. He's got sunsets, visual sunset, had other things.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell him every time I talk to him, in a year and a half, he's just going to be smoking anything I'm doing. It's fantastic to see. It's really cool to see. And, you know, $100 doesn't hurt, but thank you so much, brother. That's really cool. Say hey to Alex for me, and beers on me when I see him, man. Thank you guys.
Yeah. I think I follow him on Instagram. He's got a ton of nice stuff.
Yeah. He's got nice stuff. And there's a key. This isn't just like a Justin appreciation party, although for $100 I'll throw one. But he's got a trait to him that I think is important, where you can be as successful as you want in life. Sometimes you got to realize what you don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And he just goes to learn, man. He doesn't stop. We talk every couple days, if not every day. But super humble guy. Got a ton of resources from success in his own life, his own business. He's an entrepreneur. So all the good things, I think. So anyhow, keep an eye out for Pressure Pythons. There you go.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about facility. We talked about the past. We talked about what you focus on. What's the future? You got I have this philosophy, whether it's debt that you have to manage or it's your own money that you used to have that you don't have now.
Yeah.
That's pretty close. How do you, right? I mean, debt and money you ain't got that's a real thin nuance there. So what's the future for you? Clearly, I don't think you're going to tell me, well, there's a 3-year exit plan. This has been fun and we'll go find something new.
Yeah.
Tell me what you dream about. Tell me what, like, the fun part, and then tell me whatever part of the financial part you want to share. When does this start making sense financially?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the fun part, I'm clearly not just in this for like 3 years. I don't think anyone is in ball pythons for 3 years. That would be hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun part. I mean, I just want to keep expanding. I want to keep learning about different species, ball pythons even more. And eventually, maybe someday be full time at it. Who knows? Maybe way down the road. But as for now, just keep working. We have a couple family businesses that we have to work at.
So this is still part-time for you with that volume and truthfully. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I basically just do it. I mean, we do a little bit of something every day. That's how you basically keep up with it. But yeah, long term, I would like to keep doing this pretty much forever. I mean, I don't really see an end to ball pythons until everything's just all black or all white, I guess.
No, there's a long way before that.
Yeah, I mean, can't see an end.
No, mathematically, yeah. I tell. First, I have one question. I feel like there's more to this comment than I know, so I have to be careful. Leviathan says you're going to be competing in contests in the next month or so. Do you have a side gig of like arm wrestling? Sure like a secret arm wrestler? I didn't know if he knew if he knew something about a family business with
No,
I don't know. All right, Steven, we need details there, man. Shoot, I got sidetracked. Yeah, dead air. That's the worst. I'm sorry. I completely lost my train of thought on on what we were talking about. So on the family business, is there and again, you might not want to talk about it, but is there a pressure to remain at that, to remain committed at that? Is there a greater commitment that's sort of like, hey, I at least got to get there. I got to not do time, but put in my time on the family. How do those dynamics work?
Yeah. So my dad, he owns a landscaping company where, I mean, he does a little bit of everything. He cuts lawns. He does hardscaping, so a bunch of different paver patios. He does snow plowing, Christmas lights. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then I have a pest control company, and then him and my mom have a couple of different rental properties. But no, so I only help him when he really needs help with the landscaping company. Christmas lights, when he's got a lot of jobs lined up or he's got a couple guys out of work, then I'll come in and help him do that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Snow plowing, shoveling, all that kind of stuff. But no, there's really no pressure. Honestly, so I went to college, got a degree. I think both my parents were really pushing for me to do that. That way he always told me to work with my brain, not my hands.
Yeah.
Just because it's easier on your body.
Yeah, but that's what a hardworking dad always tells his son.
Yeah.
You always wish something better for your kids. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to college, got my degree, and got a corporate job right out of college. Paid well, and I absolutely hated it. I hated sitting at a desk. It was the worst thing ever. So here I am. I have my own pest control company. I help him. I have 400 snakes. What else could you ask for?
The look on my face is exact. I mean, I don't know if I've ever said it this explicitly, but yeah, I walked away from 6 figures. I was good at what I did. I was well known, man. Like, if people are going to hire somebody, they call me, hey, Adam, you know this guy? You must have known him, I get it. I had to, I was a different place in my life, was married and had a son. I got to make sure that, I have mortgages and all that. Like sometimes you become bound by stuff. So, and I didn't hate it. I loved it. I loved it until I didn't. And then when I didn't, I was done with it. But I spend a few hours every morning consulting, and then this is where I come to, and this is where I figure out. It's like that. You might not be old enough. I don't know. You remember the old Animaniacs cartoon? What are we going to do tonight? Pinky and the Brain. Well, everything, same thing we do every night. We're going to figure out how to take over the world, man. That's like,
Exactly.
What are you doing down there today, Adam? I'm figuring out how I'm going to take over the world, man. That's what's going to happen here.
No, but
no, good honestly, for you. I think that's awesome, man.
The next 3 years, I mean, obviously with the weird market we're in right now, the only thing we're really looking to do is breed for holdbacks. I'm sure we'll have stuff for sale because we can't hold back everything. But there's like, we're in the Sunset Pod project, the Sunset Clown project, eventually, like this year we should be breeding for Pie double het Sunset Lavender, and a bunch of stuff like that. Like, it's going to be a bunch of holdbacks just for the future. And then hopefully when the market turns around, we'll be hitting really cool shit with all the holdbacks we have from these couple of years.
Oh, you will. There's no way not to, really. That's an interesting point. You said you're breeding for holdbacks. And in my mind, I was trying to figure out a gracious way to say, with all that you're doing, why wouldn't you make it full-time? Make it your full-time job. Your overhead's low. You're living at home. You're raising your own rats. Do it, man. But that clarifies it. There's the answer right there. That's a different outlook. It's a different business model. It's a different need. It's a different, you have the resource of a company that of a reliable income.
And you got to, like, as soon as you make this full-time, you need to breed to make money, because that's your income. That's your sole income. Eventually I will have like a mortgage and stuff to pay for. And when I'll need a sole income if I'm doing this full-time. I won't be able to hold back all the fun different projects that I'm holding back. But for the next couple of years, just hold back everything.
It's funny, the stages of life, because you talk about you're going to have a mortgage, and how I'm able to do this now is that I'm at the sunset of my mortgage. My mortgage is next to nothing. I got, my vehicles are paid off. My solar panels are paying for my electricity and my gas bill. I make enough electricity to pay for my gas. So people are like, man, how much revenue are you doing? I'm like, it's not that much. And they're like, how are you living on that? I'm like, I got my savings. I got everything I did for the past 27 years. That's just in the bank. I'm making it work, and I am not going backwards, but the life stage is different. I know it sounds cocky to be like, well, the portfolio performs really well. Oh, that's like damn near like a okay boomer kind of thing, right? But damn it, I worked for it. That's how I worked hard, and now I can do this, and because I got other boxes checked. So I always love like considering each person's resources and each person's sort of secret weapon or unfair advantage. And it's like, hey, your own company is your unfair advantage, man. You get to have what you have because of that life structure that you have and the company you've already established. That's great.
And ever since I was little, like, I don't know, I don't really like taking orders from people. I think that's the problem. I like to be like, I like to have my own day under my own control. So like ever since I was little, I always kind of wanted to be like a serial business owner, where you just own a bunch of different businesses. You hire someone to manage them. You don't have to do much at some point. But just have income streams.
Well, and that is a skill in and of itself. I mean, going from running kitchens and being the guy cutting, prepping, cooking, tasting, moving food, to, all right, Adam, you got 5 restaurants and 3 weddings going on. You can't be the same. You can't be, you're going to fail as a leader if you think that you could do all of that by yourself. So then you do have to do exactly what you have to learn the skill of management, delegation, trust, and all of that. So that's a learned skill too. But I think even having your head around it, or having that as the dream, is the start of it. So, no, I think that's cool. I think it's a cool story. I think it's important to understand. The one thing I love about this show is, in like a 10-minute conversation, I can't learn this stuff, and other people can't. It almost builds like empathy and understanding, where other people can go, oh, I just thought
Yeah.
everybody was a bazillionaire and I'm not. So I'll never be able to get into
Right.
it.
Yeah, we
No,
wish.
yeah, Adam's not a bazillionaire. I just worked hard and I positioned my life well. And
Yeah.
you know, Chris saw me when Chris was kind enough to put me up at Tinley.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't spend a penny at concessions so that I could blow a whole shit ton of money on the nicest steak on the menu that night. You know, I'm like, no, I'll eat ramen for 2 weeks if I can go get a nice bottle of wine.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
You know, so it's all trade-offs. It's all what we do. I also love how effective it is to bring things back to simple. Like we talk about like, oh, here's all these resources. Here's all this. Here's what influenced you. And you're like, yeah, I just don't like taking orders from people. That's why I do. Boom. I was.
Yeah, I'll be good with it for like 2 weeks, and after that 2 weeks, I'm like, man, I don't know what it is. I think it's like me. Every time I hear an order like over and over and over, I'm like, he doesn't respect me. He doesn't think I'm capable of doing what he's doing. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
It's I will tell you, in management, every 4 years or so, I felt like I was a really good manager. Because it took me about 4 years to figure it out. And then there was like a new generation or a new outlook. It's not quite Gen X, Gen Z kind of stuff, but there was little nuances, or the housing market had changed, or gas prices had changed. So the reason people were working was different. So I would get to where I could really connect with people. And I was, I was always wanted to make sure I didn't make people feel the way that you're describing that you're made to feel. And I'd have like one good year where I'm like, yes, this is it. My team is good. I got the people I want in place. I'm connecting with them. We got a shared vision. We're on a mission. And then it'd be like, God, I don't know I'm back to not knowing what I'm doing. I got no idea, man. It was like,
well, that's a good thing though.
Sometimes
you got to come back down to earth.
It was a good thing. And it taught me that I have to be a constant student, which is as much why I do this show. I mean, I learned so much just by asking questions. And a lot of times I think I know the answers, but then I hear that there's a new perspective. And like you and I are getting on great and we're good conversation, but there's a 20-year difference in our ages. Like you're going to see things different than I do. And understanding that makes a difference, whether I want to partner with somebody with that difference, whether I want to sell something, whether I want to buy something, all of those things, you know, I think it is good. And we get too like set in our own little tribes where we don't, you know, if I'm ever the old dude that has, if I'm ever the old dude that doesn't want to learn or hear anything different, just take me out, man. Just end it right there for me. But when you were, it made me think I was cracking up. I was negotiating actually an advertising piece with somebody, and we were talking about metrics and click through, and you could do this for this much, and you could see, you know, on this price and that. And I finally just said, what if I sell one of your products? That's about what I'm asking you to pay me. So you're breaking even. What if I sell two? Then you're in the black and I'm totally worthwhile. And they're like, that's way, way easier. I'm like, yeah, let's just do it that way. And when you said that about like, I just don't like taking orders, I was like, that's one of those moments where like, forget all the business lingo, you know? So, all right, this is one of those kind of like 20 questions, but it's only one of them. What's your dream animal as far as ball pythons? Like with what you have now, like what is like your thing at night that keeps you up that you're working toward?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say there's one with codoms and one with just recessives. The recessive one is probably I'm really excited to see a sunset clown monarch desert ghost. I think that could look really, really cool.
Yeah, a quad?
Yeah, I think.
I think we're all excited to see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the codoms.
Wait, hang on. Before I just blow you off, giving you a hard time. Sunset clown, monarch, desert ghost.
Yeah.
So really, really bright, vivid. Some of the orange hues, pattern of the clown. Now, why the sunset in the clown? I feel like sunset gets a little diminished in the clown.
So I think the Sunset Monarch is gonna be like, it's gonna be mind changing. Like on
Just electric.
I think people who don't like Sunset, when they see it with Monarch, they'll like it. Because Monarch's a little bit, it's deeper and stronger than Ultramel.
Mhm.
I think the Ultramel Sunset looked pretty good. No one's hit the Sunset Monarch yet. So I think the Sunset Monarch's gonna be just like a bright red.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
Desert Ghost that's gonna just electrify that.
yeah. So yeah, we have a female DG Monarch and a male Sunset Clown. So we're going for the quad heads this year. So hopefully someday.
Wow. Okay.
Someday.
All right. So this isn't. All right. Cool.
But for the Codoms, I'm really, really excited to see what like a Hurricane Cypress redhead clown will look like. I think that's gonna look so cool.
Yeah.
We have the ingredients, but it's gonna be a couple of years before we can do that.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be cool. Clown is such a dominant pattern.
Yeah.
And the Hurricane is gonna break that up and really kind of change that. I remember the first time I saw an acid clown.
Yeah.
That really struck me. I was like, wow, here's something powerful enough to bust through the clown pattern. Yeah. And that was something I hadn't seen a whole lot of. I mean, clowns, obviously, I mean, Spot Nose gives it a little different look and gives it some pillars and that sort of thing. You know, and she really reduces it, but they still looked clown. The acid clown, if you didn't see the head, you'd go, what is that clown? What is that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it was really cool. I think Hurricane will do that in the combo you're talking about as well.
For sure. But yeah, those two combos I'm really excited about. What about you? What's your dream snake?
Well, it just sounds so like low on the totem pole compared to what the stuff you're talking about. I'm blown away at the opportunity that's out there still in super gravel. I want to see super gravel in clown. I want to see it. And I know it's been done in clown, but I want to see it in axanthic. I want to see it with hypo on top. I think finding a way to preserve that, again, this totally disrupted pattern.
Yeah.
First time I saw a hatchling super gravel, it looked like no ball python I'd ever seen. I was blown away. And it's a super form of a codom.
Yeah.
Like that could just be worked like any other recessive project.
Sure.
So then I can work it like any double recessive. And there's really, I mean, even the super gravels that you see without any recessives, there's really there's just not been a whole lot done with them.
I mean,
there's plenty of pinstripe and enchi and pastel out there, but I don't even know if something like mahogany has been done with super gravel. You know,
that whole complex is amazing.
It's incredible, and I think people thought it was done, and I think they moved on to, you know, whiz bang doubles and triples.
Right.
When you can have the whiz bang double and triple, and this can be a part of it. It can be a part of that. So I'm fortunate enough that I have some really good building blocks with gravel in recessives right now. I have a really, really good stock of 1-year-old females. I think I have 9 female super gravels right now. So kind of set up to really push that forward. And I don't have any freeways or any of the other road names. It's all 100% gravel in that project. I do have some yellow belly, but they're not going to cross paths on that. So that's exciting to me. And as you know, I could go the JD constriction route. Okay, I could work clowns, but it's going to be super gravel. I could work ultramel. It could be super gravel, just like he did with axanthic. That was really eye-opening, you know. So I'm pretty pumped about that project, and I feel like it's starting to kind of turn heads again, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, and I think that's like the strongest business model in the ball pythons. Like if you're known for something, like if someone shuts their eyes and thinks of axanthic, they'll think of JD because everything he has is axanthic. Walking by his Tinley booth, it's like
it's like ridiculous, right?
TV show. But yeah, like if you could do that with the gravel, like I remember the first ball python that ever made me like want one. it was in high school. I saw like a super pastel highway, and just like a white snake with a highway line down its back. I was like mind blown.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Like if you get super gravel clown with desert ghost or exanthic, like it's gonna look sweet.
Yeah, and it's and I think we touched on this point earlier. It's exciting to me. It gives me the excitement. If I have the excitement, I'll figure out what to do with it. If I, you know,
exactly.
How many people 2 years ago thought I'd still be sitting here now, 2 years later, with 60 people watching? I was the right guy for it in this setting. I think I'm the right guy for the super gravel. And like I say, I'm excited by it. And even the market sort of bears that out too, not necessarily the finances of it.
Yeah.
But when people walk by, I take special note. What do they look at? What catches their eye?
Right.
So there's what catches the breeder's eye is one thing. What catches the novice's eye? And they go, whoa, what is that thing?
Yeah.
That's the core of it all.
No,
You always got to foster that. I think that's my thing. So,
for sure.
So those are mine. Now, to get back on the really exciting tracks this year will be my first. I got a pot. One of my clutches still could be a dreamsicle this year, but next year I'll make or the pairings I'm starting now. I'll make axanthic pieds, axanthic clowns, ultramel clowns. So those are exciting because a lot of those were holdbacks that I produced. So it's really cool to see that come to fruition, and it's sort of a, whatever analogy you want to use, the snowball or the spiral or the exponential growth, like all the millions of little hard work details, you suddenly go, oh, wait a minute, I could get this year. Wait a minute, I can have this. Wait a minute, I can have, and like, you remember 2 years ago, you're staring at one of the very few axanthic clowns ever made. And it's, you know, at least 4 figures, maybe 5 figures 2 years ago. And now I know it. It's in those racks. It's going to come out of those racks in the next, 15 months. So I'm very excited about that stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot to be done. I'm pretty much every project. Like, I feel like we skipped over the double recessive projects and just went straight to the triples. I feel like more people are working on the DG Xanthic Clown than the actual Xanthic Clown.
I could do a whole show on it. No. But we get this. What's the expression? FOMO, fear of missing out. It's a little bit of a part of it. But I think that it's the same in news. It's the same in other business. We see something on the internet, and then 40,000 people see it on the internet, and then 40 million people see it on the internet, and it becomes this race, and we forget what way any of us lean politically.
Right.
It used to be that something was a headline in a 400-word article that maybe you read all of over some oatmeal at breakfast.
Right.
Then you got on with your day. Can you imagine such a world? Like, it's just exhausting. Like, I just can't get away from it sometimes. Like, and it could be politics. It could be any kind of news. It could be Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Right.
Oh, Pete's sake, like, I don't care. Just leave me alone.
Every football game now.
Which, good for both. Actually, they both seem like very cool people, and she is an incredible powerhouse. I don't think I could name a song of hers other than the "Shake It Off" thing. But good for her. I say get our money while it's good. It doesn't bother me. So, Steven just said, "Are we moving towards triples and quads too fast?" I firmly believe, and I believe this in restaurants. I see it in cars. I see it in almost any product. Somebody was talking about grades of home improvement stores earlier.
Yeah.
There's going to be a vacuum, and there's going to be a spectrum of buyers.
Yeah.
Yes, if you're producing quads, you'll always have some trickle-down misses.
Right.
But if you don't value those, and it's a frustrating thing, you're not going to be passionate about selling them. So there's space in the middle. Hyundai is very, very successsul, and I think Lamborghini is very successful. They certainly portray themselves. I don't know how they are, but they seem to be. Right. So, and then there's the the mass in the middle of the, the Honda, the Toyota, the Chevys, the Fords, so I think, and again, you see it in restaurants. Hell, you see it in gas stations. There's like boutique gas stations now, like there's nice stuff out there. So I think it's in any place. So, Brett, where can people go see you? You mentioned you do a whole lot of shows. What do you got coming up next? Where can people see you next?
Yeah. So next we are going to the St. Louis show, the NARBC show.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they planned it on the same day as our local Gettysburg show, so we won't be.
Oh, it is. That's a big one in the region, right?
Yeah. So we won't be at Gettysburg this time, but we should be able to do all 3 of them next year. But St. Louis, and then that's it for the shows for the year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But other than that, if you ever want to reach out to us, we're on Instagram, Jersey Guys Balls. Feel free to hit us up.
Definitely. And I apologize. One, who was it? Luke Friedel asked if I was going to be at the Des Moines show. That is November 5th. I'm on the wait list for Des Moines, and I'm also on the wait list for a show in Green Bay. Whichever calls me first, I'll go do either one of them. Much like you're describing with Gettysburg and St. Louis, I'd like to do both. They're both good promoters. But I may very well be doing none. I might be sitting on my butt watching college football that day. So I don't know. If I do, I'll post it on Instagram where I will be. But as far as I know, not as far as I know, for very sure this weekend, I'll be at the Exotic Pet Fair show in Hastings. That's the Snake Discovery show. So come hang out if you're in the area. Guys, go check out Brett, Jersey Guys Balls, monsoons to sunsets. Really, we could have just made it a 12-second show and just been like, monsoon to sunset, to sunset. Go check them out. No, it's very, very cool. Oh, I didn't even give you trouble about your sink.
No, geez.
I don't even have it lit up. You got that big facility and that cute little baby sink, man.
So we upgraded our sink. We got a new one.
Did?
Yeah, we have a brand new stainless steel. Did you see the one that's white?
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the stainless steel one.
That one's huge.
I'm gonna message you tonight. You need drain boards on either side, man.
Yeah.
You need drying racks around it.
I agree. We're working on that.
Okay, all right. You got sunsets and monsoons. I got the sink, man. I'm gonna message it to you here in just a second.
Right. Sounds good. Are you going to the St. Louis show?
I don't think so. It's 8 hours from me.
Yeah,
I'm not vending at it. It's 8 hours. Hotel. My inventory is not that.
Yeah.
My inventory is not really 8-hour travel just yet. So I don't know. I say that. I did fine at Tinley. I do fine at Daytona. I shouldn't sell myself short.
I'm sure you would kill it there.
I'm not planning to go yet. I want to. Stephen and Courtney will be there. A lot of my Midwest friends will be there. You're going to be there.
We'll talk you always. Don't worry.
I was going to say, you never know. Like, you get the if somebody were going in on a hotel or would split something, maybe I got to look at the calendar. Matter of fact, I know we're trying to land this show, but I got the dang schedule right here. Let me look real fast. Hang on.
Sure.
We'll just call this like overtime. This is just bonus pull back the curtain stuff for everybody. St. Louis 11/11. Yeah, I could still be talked into it if the overhead on the tables those are expensive tables too, man.
So that's the biggest problem at NARBC. Like Gettysburg show, I could go sell a $500 animal and be in the profit.
That's what I'm saying.
These shows, it's hard.
It's hard, and I mean, clout has value, relationships have value, marketing has value, but damn, it's hard to making a penny has value too, And for Tinley, I was in. Fortunately, I'll just be transparent. I handled the table. Chris handled the hotel.
Right.
Okay, cool. That worked out.
Yeah.
But still, my costs were 35% of what I sold.
Yeah.
Whereas I could go to St. Paul, little 20 vendor show. I cleaned up, man. I did.
Yeah.
I
know.
This past 7 days has probably been one of my best 7-day stretches.
There you go.
Ever, maybe, So that's playing into it a little bit because it's $400 or $500 just to get a table.
The tables are, and it's only going to keep going up. It's eventually going to be a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's just a separation, and it's all relative. If I'm slinging a table full of sunsets, I don't care. Yeah. But I'm not. I'm just not yet. So I get it, and money does talk. I mean, people pay them, people go. So, I don't know. It's not likely. I could be convinced, but it's not likely.
Yeah. I think Chris said the Gettysburg table price is sick. I think it's like $100, something like that.
That's what
a no-brainer.
Somebody told me the other day. I was like, "Hey, are you doing the Cold-Blooded Expos? Not Cold-Blooded Cafe, Cold-Blooded Expo shows. They're a Midwest promoter."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, that'll be in Minneapolis." And they're like, "Yeah, the table's so expensive. It's $100." So I'm like, "Go get it, dude! Like, what more do you want? So I don't think so. I will be at Tinley in March for sure for another NARBC show. And I think I want to do I would give the Schaumburg show a shot. We did
it this year. It's in the middle of the summer.
It's 4.5 hours from my house.
It's right next to Tinley, basically.
Yeah, it's I don't know why that 8 hours, that's a long stretch too. Like that's another The problem too is in the winter, that's another night in a hotel. In the summer, I could sleep in my truck if I could do the truck stop ride home. Winter, I can't do that here, so we're not with the animals. So
especially just being you. Like me and my dad will just drive straight through overnight probably.
Right.
Yeah. But
okay. See, I think Leviathan, I didn't know that. The Reptile Nation show. I heard that Atlanta show was printing money for the vendors, for the promoter. I heard that's the best show in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Right there. $100 a table. Pack the house with the best people. The customers will come, man. That's what it is, So all right, Brett. It's been a pleasure. Come back soon, man. I want to hear when you hit this stuff. I tend to find about 6 months people have new stuff going on and their perspectives have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So springtime. We could do a pre-Tinley if you want, man.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, cool. Well, thanks so much. Stick around for just a second in the green room.
You got it.
Guys, thank you all so much. Y'all were very generous in the audience tonight, particularly Justin. Pressure Pythons. I think somebody said that he had 83 subscribers on YouTube. Clicks don't cost you a penny. Go give him a subscription on that. And same on Instagram. Thank you so much, everybody. Next Monday, special episode, Chris Eaton, Steven from Leviathan Snakes. It's going to be on Monday night at 8:00 Monday, not Tuesday as usual. Have a happy Halloween after that show, but I'll wish you that later. So cheers, guys. I am out of here. Thanks, everybody.